This is what I love about doing FYC Live. That is the official FYC dance. And you should all get to know it because I think we're going to be doing FYC Live a whole lot of times between now and when the Academy Awards, the 96 Academy Awards, are announced on March 10th, 2024. In the meantime, we have a brand spanking new episode. Big hello to everyone watching us live. Reminder to please send the amazing Perri Nemiroff a super chat because we love when you send super chats. And so does the mighty Jeff Snyder. Perri taking a drink because she's got a lot to say. She is wetting her whistle.
Yeah.
Revisiting our picks for Best Actor on this brand new FYC. And just overall, now that we're starting to get some movement in the awards world with the National Board of Review, we had the New York Film Critics, the Gothams, and this Monday is the Golden Globe nominations, which mean absolutely nothing. So the mighty Jeff Snyder, who can be found on his newsletter at theinsnyder.com, where do you think we are with Best Actor? And after our last time predicting Best Actor, where our picks were Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer, Jeffrey Wright, American Fiction, Coleman Domingo, Rustin, and Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers. Jeff, how do you feel about those picks? Are you thinking maybe something's going to change? What are your thoughts here?
I'm thinking maybe something's not going to change.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of thinking that too. What about you?
I think there's one possibility, but I can't back it up because I still haven't seen the movie yet. So there's one possible swap in there.
Okay, I'm guessing that swap is not Napoleon. Perri, what do you think?
I think we did a pretty good job the first time around. I think things are coming into focus significantly, and I don't see all that much movement happening.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, it's funny because certainly the other categories we've done so far, revisiting in terms of Best Picture and Best Actress, there were, a couple changes, especially Best Picture. But I feel like I was going through this and I'm going, I think we did a pretty good job the first time around. So with that, Perri, what is your number one pick? And is it your same number one that you had the last time?
No, I don't believe that's the same. So, I mean, it's not a spoiler at this point. I think it's pretty obvious that I have a lot of the same names, but some of the ordering has changed. And I just want to say, I'm happy that it's the same names. I feel like these are the right names. I would be really excited about all of these nominations. And I think I would wind up in a position where I wouldn't give a shit who won, because I'd be so damn happy for any of them. My number one right now, though, I think is the clear front runner. I'm going with Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. The more I watch that movie, the more I appreciate the subtleties in his performance. And really, he is exceptional in that role. And I feel like Oppenheimer is sustaining its momentum even better than I thought it would. So I feel like that movie is in good shape overall, and he is the front runner right now.
Okay, that is very interesting, and I agree with your assessment on moving Cillian Murphy up to number one, but I don't know if I did, and I'm going to go to Jeff on this. What about you? Our number one last time was Bradley Cooper. How do you feel about that now?
He wasn't my number one then, and he's not my number one now.
Okay. Who was your number one?
The number one, and the person who I think there's a clear consensus forming around this guy is Paul Giamatti.
Yep. I had a feeling you were saying that.
I think Paul Giamatti is going to win the Oscar for The Holdovers. The Holdovers is looking more and more like an uphill battle for Best Picture potentially. Even though I think that is like the number one movie, along with American Fiction, to challenge Oppenheimer in that race. But ultimately, let's just do it out. Oppenheimer wins Picture Director, and possibly. I don't think that it's going to get Actor as well. I think that Giamatti's going to win. This is his year.
I think you might be right about that part of it. I don't think it's going to get all three.
Okay, I agree with that assessment. First of all, in terms of The Holdovers, this is a movie that had its premiere at Telluride back in the beginning of September. And I feel like ever since then, especially now that it's been out in theaters, it's a movie that people are finding, more people are talking about. It's a movie that I think just like when I saw it for the first time, it was a movie that kind of really grew on me. And the more I thought about it, the more I liked it. Then I saw it again, I loved it even more. And then I saw it, just over Thanksgiving weekend, loved it even more. So I think it's actually moving up, not down, Jeff. As for Paul Giamatti, I think that he is also moving up. But by the way, our five are probably going to match here. But my number one at this point, it could have been Paul Giamatti, and that might change when we do our final predictions. But my number one, who I think is going to win the Oscar for Best Actor, is Bradley Cooper for Maestro. And here's why. Bradley Cooper has, let's see, 9 prior nominations. Like when you think Bradley Cooper, 9? He's 9 prior nominations. Well, I mean, they're not all for Best Actor. 3 of them are for Best Actor: Star is Born, Silver Linings Playbook, and American Sniper. 1 for Supporting Actor for American Hustle. 1 for Adapted Screenplay for A Star is Born. And 4 for Best Picture, producing American Sniper, A Star is Born. And yes, he produced Joker and Nightmare Alley. So I think, the Academy definitely loves him. And I just think there's this one moment during Maestro, I know you guys know what I'm talking about, where you're watching it, you just go, holy shit, wow. Like this one moment is when people go, okay, here you go, take the Oscar now. So Perri, I agree with you. I think Cillian Murphy, when I definitely love Oppenheimer. That's my number one for picture and director. And I think Cillian Murphy is moving up, and so is Paul Giamatti, but I'm still holding Bradley regardless. Okay.
Guys, what a race. Like, I mean, we're each going in different directions. That's the beauty of it. It's going to be a hell of a year here at FYC, guys. Stay tuned.
It's pretty cool.
And you know what, Perri? I think you hit the nail on the head too, when you were like, this is exciting. This is going to be a fun one. Like any one of these people win, you're going to be like, absolutely, yes, totally deserved. Like none of these that we're probably going to pick here and agree on, I'm going to go, oh man, no way, but forget it. I think it's exciting. But okay, so Perri has Cillian Murphy at number 1, and Jeff has Paul Giamatti at number 1. I have Cillian Murphy at number 2, which is close enough, and I have Paul Giamatti at number 4. So, Perri, who's your number 2? Or where do you guys have Bradley Cooper?
My number 2 is Bradley Cooper.
Oh, wait. Jeff's got something to say.
He's going to get mad
your
that you
3?
have number 4. Yeah.
Who is your 3?
I know who your 3 is, Mans.
I'm sure Perri knows who my 3 is. Wait, before I get to my 3, I got something here. So Perri, you have Bradley Cooper number 2.
2.
Let's hear.
That I have him at number 2.
What is it about that you have him at number 2 now? Maybe that changed.
I think I had him at number 1 last time we spoke, and I still think he is, like many of these people, deserving to be at number 1. I'm just trying to, and like when I say Cillian Murphy is at 1 and Bradley Cooper is 2, and I'll just spoil this, Paul Giamatti is my 3. They're so damn close together, and anything could change at any moment. And I think I'm still in the phase where Holdovers is looking good. It's getting stronger and stronger every step of the way. Bradley Cooper is just such a damn powerhouse in Maestro. And then also when you factor in everything else he did on the movie, I think that just boosts his chances. And then again, like what I said before about Oppenheimer, just staying so strong. So there's not much separating them, but this is just the order I feel that is right now.
Yeah, I agree. Not much separating these two guys at all. Okay, Jeff, where is Bradley Cooper on your list?
All right. If I'm being honest,
but be honest,
he's number 2.
Oh!
You seem so disappointed about that.
Yeah,
because I'll tell you what it means. It means that he's, if we had to like put our lists together, he would be number 1, and I don't think he's number 1. With one first place vote from Manson, 2 second place votes from you and me, Perri, like he would get the consensus number 1. I think he is very, very, very good in the movie, but the movie ultimately isn't his movie. All right. I mean, he's not even top billed. He's not top billed. Carey Mulligan has the top billing on this movie. and it's because she's the lead. And I don't know that I just don't see it. I don't know that there's enough there, and I don't think that the younger audience will line up for him.
Yeah, Bradley Cooper is in every scene of this movie. He's in every scene of this movie. He's the maestro, not Carey Mulligan. Carey Mulligan doesn't show up until a little bit into the film, so I don't know if I would say it's not his movie. It very, very, very much is. But I love the way you think and respect your opinion as always. Okay, so you have him at number 2. So Jeff, who's your number 3?
My 3 is Cillian Murphy.
Your 3 is Cillian Murphy. Okay, why is Cillian Murphy your number 3?
I have Bradley over Cillian because I think Bradley did a better job. He did have a higher degree of difficulty with the music and some of the makeup and stuff like that. Cillian, I think he's a good actor, but I don't. He still keeps me at sort of arm's length. I don't think he really invites you in. I don't think Nolan's the kind of director that helps him, invite you in. So I got Cooper over Murphy for now.
I just want to point out that JMB has noticed. It says, "Doesn't Jeff sound so much better with his new mic?"
Oh, thank you.
I completely agree. Jeff, why don't you tell us about your brand spanking that you bought?
I hope they sponsored you, Jeff.
It's a J-Lab microphone. My brother got it for me. So thank you so much to my brothers, both of them actually, because they got me the equipment to hook it up to the computer.
I got to buy one of those. If you sound that good, I think I would sound a lot better than I've been sounding on FYC or anywhere else.
You sound like an angel to me, Scott.
Oh, you're so sweet. Okay, so Jeff, Cillian Murphy is your number 3. Perri, your number 3, you said is
Paul Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti. And let's talk about your take on Paul Giamatti at this point in the race.
Oh, he's going up. I think there's a very real chance that he could top my number 1 and 2. I think it is just like it's a beautiful performance, period. But it's what I've been saying all along with the Holdovers. That is I think that's one of the most difficult movies that we're discussing in the Oscar season this year to not like. Like, you have to try real damn hard to not like that movie. And I just have a feeling in many categories, it's going to win over enough people for those particular people to rise in the ranks. So Paul Giamatti definitely has a chance to be number 1 by the end of the season for me.
Okay. Do either of you want to make a bet?
Not here. I'm saving my bet, I think, when we revisit supporting actress, because I think there is a person there that I'm very much rooting for that, Jeff, I don't think you are, to get a nomination, not a win. So I'm saving my bet for when we discuss supporting actress.
Before we get into 4 and 5, then,
yes.
Before we get into the 4 and 5 slide, I want to talk about these top 3. Do you think that there's something to the fact that Paul Giamatti has to create this character? Okay, whereas the other 2 are playing real life people, right? And there's a lot of, and not even that, but like Paul Giamatti you can smell him, right? His character has a smell in the movie. His character smells, and like he allows you to feel that, a sense that you're not actually feeling in the theater. I just think it's an incredible performance, and just as physical as Bradley and Maestro as well.
That's a really interesting way to put it. Listen, the fact that Paul Giamatti had to create this character versus, Cillian Murphy and Bradley Cooper, who are playing real life characters, I think there's an equal amount of difficulty either way, especially in the case of Bradley Cooper, who has to really project a version of Leonard Bernstein that's not the one that the public knows. So in some ways, creating that character seems like it would have been as much of a challenge for Bradley Cooper as creating a character was for Paul Giamatti. And then, Cillian Murphy, the thing about Oppenheimer is that screenplay is so specific and particular. And man, I wonder how anyone in that film memorizes their lines, because that's a hell of a thing. I think the screenplay of Oppenheimer is actually the star of that movie because I was so riveted by it. What do you think about that observation, Perri? I'm just curious.
I kind of agree with where you landed, Mance. I think both are equally difficult, but in different ways. I don't know. I can see and smell what Jeff is explaining.
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
that's incredibly effective, and I marvel at actors who use a 2-hour running time to introduce me to a new person and make me feel like I know so many different layers of their experience in the now, but also have a very clear understanding of their past too. And I think Paul Giamatti does that quite well. But I also think that I get access to Bradley Cooper and Cillian Murphy's characters too, but in unique ways. It's like when I look at like I do think I know Jeff, I believe you said it feels like you're at a distance from Cillian Murphy, but I think that's what's so beautiful about his performance in Oppenheimer is that it's more the opposite. And I feel like I'm getting access to these things that I mean, really, my brain shouldn't be able to see and understand because I'm not a physicist. But I feel the emotional pressure he's under, and I also am able to, at least to a degree, tap into how his brain is operating when it's working in this scientific field that I don't understand. And really, the same thing with Maestro, just in terms of both his work and then also the situation he's in with his relationship. I feel like literally all of them give me full versions of these characters and access to them. So
let me ask you this. My friend Jamie brought this up, because sometimes it's like you vote for the character as much as you do the performance. And a guy like Oppenheimer, even, the Maestro to some extent, these are great men, but they're not good men. Whereas Giamatti's character is a good man.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Oppenheimer's a great man, but not a good man. You know what I mean?
I mean, Oppenheimer was the destroyer of worlds, so, does it make him a good man? I mean, he ended the war, but like, look at the other problems that started.
His family, I don't know, stuff like that.
I think, I think Leonard Bernstein's a good man. Absolutely. And I think Paul Giamatti starts off as a unlikable person, but the power of that performance is that he goes through a change. It's a great arc. It's an actor's dream to play an arc like that, where you go not really liking the guy, thinking he's a grouch and a curmudgeon and all that, to rooting for him and really empathizing with him towards the end. So yeah, all three completely different levels of difficulty. And it's hard to pick out which one is more difficult.
I think what you're explaining might come into play more so with Best Picture because of the preferential ballot system. It's just more likely that a likable crowd pleaser will rise to the top versus something that is a little more polarizing or difficult to maybe not difficult to appreciate and admire, but to enjoy.
Right. Perri, that's a fair point.
That is exactly why Green Book won over Roma. So you are absolutely correct. So wait, about 10 minutes ago, Perri, you guessed what my number 3 was.
I think I can.
Go ahead.
I think your number 3 is Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction.
Your insight serves you well as usual. Yes, Jeffrey Wright is my number 3. 5-time Emmy nominee, 3 of those for Westworld. Jeffrey Wright having a really spectacular year because he is fantastic in Rustin.
Mm-hmm.
Supporting character, but this is his movie all the way. And talk about an actor who does great work all the time, and to finally get a role that he defines and defines him. Jeffrey Wright is fantastic in the satire that is American Fiction, written and directed by Cord Jefferson. The movie, I think, is out now. Is it?
Next weekend.
Next weekend. Okay. Well, when it opens
next weekend limited, and then it goes wide the weekend after.
Oh, right. Okay. So the timing is, platforming. Yeah, that movie's great. Okay. So the question, Perri, is where's Jeffrey Wright on your list?
He is 100% on my list. I would be so happy if he won. I think this performance is just like absolutely fantastic. And it goes to what we were also just talking about in terms of a crowd pleaser type of movie. Because I think American Fiction very much falls into that category too, but with like such thematic heft, which really impresses me, all the things that it's getting at while still being like a highly enjoyable and like lovable ride, watching that family come together and understand each other better. And also with his character understanding his craft and his place in that business. He is my number 4. I desperately want to see him get this nomination. I think he's going to, and if he doesn't, I will rage.
I will rage as well. All right, Jeff, what about you? Jeffrey Wright, where is he on your list?
He's my number 4.
Number
I
4.
think Jeffrey Wright is great in this movie. The movie's fantastic. I think it actually has the stuff to potentially pull off an upset. It depends on a couple of things. But I saw it a second time this week, and I thought it totally held up. It was terrific. Jeffrey Wright is great. I don't think it's a winning performance, especially in this field. I think the nomination will be the win for him here.
Yep, I agree with that.
Mainly because Sterling K. Brown, I think, is even better in that movie.
So
yes,
good.
he's great. He's great. I'm just curious, before we get to our last pick here, I just going back to Best Picture. Is there a chance that there's like an upset there, like a movie? Because I think there's like maybe a couple movies that where we're thinking about the problem. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the upset there? Because like if you're talking like Best Picture, okay, we're going back to Best Picture for a second. You like the obvious choices: Oppenheimer, Flower Moon, Poor Things, maybe American Fiction. Is there something that could like really change the game?
You want to go first?
So I think there are only 2 possibilities for an upset, and that's with my brain saying Oppenheimer is the most likely winner, the front runner. I think, and I've been saying this on episodes, I think the 2 potential upsets are The Holdovers and American Fiction. What I fear is that might split the vote in terms of potential upsets and give Oppenheimer an even bigger lead. So I'm still going Oppenheimer firmly.
Yeah, I am too. What about you, Jeff?
I mean, I think Perri nailed that argument. I think that either one of those movies does have the stuff to upset Oppenheimer, but the fact that you can't decide which one it should definitely be is tough. I don't understand all the Killers of the Flower Moon love that we've seen so far in the precursors and like topping all these critics lists, Sight and Sound lists today. I was like, I get that this is like maybe our greatest living filmmaker, or one of them for sure, Scorsese, but like this is not a top Scorsese title for me. So I don't get that. But American Fiction and Holdovers are crowd pleasers in a way that I don't think Oppenheimer is. I think Oppenheimer is vulnerable, but I understand why it's the clear front runner at this point.
All right, then let's get to our final choice here. That I think these are not all of our number 5s. I'm thinking Perri, Coleman, Domingo.
Yes, I think this is actually the nomination I might be most passionate about too right now, just because one he's excellent. I also think he's just been incredibly like warm and captivating on the campaign circuit and has like really captured my heart big time, but also because he's my number 5. I desperately do not want to see him get bumped out of this category. I think he is exceptional and completely loses himself in this role, brings him to screen beautifully. And just to back up why I have him as my number 5 over some others we might talk about as honorable mentions, I do think Rustin is getting overshadowed considerably everywhere else. So all the Rustin support is going to go to Coleman. And then on top of that, the added boost of him being on the circuit twice for that and for The Color Purple is only going to help. So I want Coleman Domingo to get that 5th nomination, and I think he will.
I agree completely. Jeff, what's your take on Coleman Domingo for Rustin?
I have him at number 5 right now.
Yeah, sure.
But he is very much on the bubble. I mean, that movie's dead. That movie's dead in the water, right? Like that movie has had 0 impact this season, and but he is great in it. He's terrific. The issue is, whether something like Iron Claw will catch on, because I do think that Zac Efron is a real threat. No, I mean I haven't seen it, so.
Well, yeah, I saw
what do you think?
Perri, I'm going to agree with you on that. Yeah.
I do genuinely, for what it's worth. I think it's one of Zac Efron's best performances in recent years and also ever. It really is a fantastic performance from him. I don't think the movie overall is good enough to push it into really any of the categories here.
I'm just going by what I've heard. I didn't think Andrew Scott did enough for me in All of Us Strangers to really get in, especially over Coleman Domingo. So who else are we talking about? This is a thin field. We're talking about Leo. It's really just Leo. right?
I don't think it's necessarily a thin field. I just think we have.
I think it's a thin field.
I think we have such clear front runners here.
I think listen, Best Actress is way deeper this year. There's like 12, 12 women who I could see being nominated, and this year there's like 6 or 7 guys.
I mean, I'll still maintain that I wish Gael Garcia Bernal would be in the conversation for Cassandro, because I think he's excellent in that, but that one's way too far out of the conversation.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. So it's really just Coleman or Leo, and I'm going to stick with my Leo gets snubbed call at this point.
Here's the thing. So I agree, Jeff. I think not enough people have been talking about Rustin as a movie, but people are talking about Coleman because of his performance and because of The Color Purple. And so he's just like, this would be certainly an amazing year for him if he gets nominated for lead for Rustin and supporting actor for Color Purple. I think that's going to happen. I'm pretty sure both of you do too. As for if there's anyone that's going to bump him out, I do agree it's Leo, but Leo is my number one honorable mention. And for the purposes of this conversation, that's where he's going to kind of stay at the moment. Again, that could change. There's a lot going on between now and when the Oscar nominations take place on January 16th. As to whether or not those nominations and winners in these other award shows will affect the Oscars. Jeff, I know how you feel about that because critics are not Academy voters and neither are Golden Globe members. But you never know. I mean, just being in the topic of conversation and the exposure from a win, and we've talked about this before, especially in the Emmys, that does have an impact. I thought Andrew Scott was great in All of Us Strangers. I loved Nicolas Cage in Dream Scenario, but I just think that movie is a little too abstract and esoteric to make the cut.
I have a big question. Who won Best Actor in Venice?
Oh, Best Actor in Venice. Hang on. I know the answer to that because I agree, Jeff. I finally saw Memory. And Memory is fantastic, and Peter Sarsgaard is fantastic in Memory.
So he's running, as of now, as far as we know, in supporting actor.
Correct. Right.
But he won Best Actor at Venice. Like,
no, I
agree
agree
with you.
You.
Think they could mount like a Best Actor campaign for him, or you think that they should keep him where he is and support?
Well, first of all, since the last time you brought up Memory, I did finally get a chance to watch it, and I agree with you. It's a fantastic movie. It's this little film that feels almost like a James Gray movie. But the guy who directed it, Michelle something, did it. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did a great job. And Peter Sarsgaard was great. And Jessica Chastain is also fantastic. Of course, she's an Oscar winner now for Eyes of Tammy Faye. But to answer your question, I get why they are moving him to supporting actor for the Oscars. And I don't think that's going to change. If they did, I don't think that would affect my top 5.
Okay.
But he would be a really strong honorable mention. Another strong honorable mention. I knew you two were going to laugh at me. I know you two are going to think.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Go ahead, Perri.
Are you going to say Matt Damon for Air?
Fuck, man. Yes.
No. Right. I love Airmans. No.
Perri, you just really
we've known each other for a long time now.
Yeah, we have. Yes, but I think Matt Damon he's so damn good in that movie. I love that film. I do think kind of, I feel like Amazon's definitely kind of been pushing it out there again, and people are rediscovering it or even maybe seeing it for the first time. Will that have an impact on the Oscars? I don't know. I hope so. And then TOU for Past Lives. But I think I love that film, but I don't think maybe he's not going to get nominated. Jeff, what about you? Any strong honorable mentions besides?
No, you just mentioned it. It was like, I just don't think Tiolu has like the profile this season. But if anyone else was like deserving of that 5th slot, it would probably be him.
Absolutely. All right. So that is where we stand. So okay. So before we do our top 5, solidify, everybody knows what it is. Perri, do we have any super chats we want to get to?
I mean, wait, real quick. Do we want to talk about Leo a little bit more at all, or no?
Oh, yeah. I do want to say
Perri's like fuck Leo.
I
mean,
look, I think Leo is hands down one of the very finest actors of all time, not just working today.
Yes.
I loved him better in other films. I do think that there is still a very, very strong chance he gets nominated, but I'm still putting my cards on Coleman Domingo, even though Apple Plus is very much pushing very hard for Leo. They're doing a lot of FYC things and really putting Leo out there. So, and he knows how to, he's like Tom Cruise in a way, he knows how to charm people. So I would not say that our top five, even though I feel really strongly about it, I would not say that Rustin, Coleman Domingo, I would say, I don't think that's a lock, but what do you have to say about Leo at this point?
No, I mean, I feel like I just wanted to see if we, if you guys want to get a word in. I sort of said what I had to say. I don't think it's one of his better performances. And I think that Lily kind of blew him off the screen.
What about you, Perri? What's your take on it?
I'll agree. And also just looking at the field, I can't speak about that potential nomination with the same enthusiasm that I can about the other five we've picked. And I feel like that sentiment might be something that reverberates throughout the awards voting community. So I think that these five are going to rise above him.
All right, let's cut to those super chats.
Many. Dave Networld says, "Hey, gang, fantastic to join you for another season. More likely snub DiCaprio or De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon."
Well, I don't know. I would say probably DiCaprio would be a bigger snub, even though I'm not picking him in my top five. Perri, what do you think?
I guess if I'm picking between the two, DiCaprio.
Yeah.
DiCaprio is the more likely snub. I just think it's like we're talking about it like, well, this isn't one of Leo's best, and for De Niro, we're like, this is the best he's been in years.
That's true.
That's
He definitely is the best De Niro has been in a while. Since The Irishman, but he wasn't nominated for The Irishman. He was nominated De Niro was nominated for The Irishman, but as a producer for Best Picture, not as an actor. All right, what's next, Perri?
Lucas does not agree with us. Leonardo DiCaprio is getting in. Y'all are crazy.
The force is strong with you, Lucas. We'll see.
You never know, Lucas. You might be right.
Unfortunately, we are talking about basically the most famous movie star on the planet, or one of them, and someone, Coleman Domingo, who unfortunately a lot of, maybe older voters wouldn't know.
But they will.
They will.
Right. Netflix, right. With the Netflix apparatus behind him, I think Coleman Domingo is well positioned.
All right.
Here's a biggie from David. I'm very sure the locks are Bradley, Cillian, Leo, Paul Giamatti, who just won the NBR award, and the fifth slot will be Andrew Scott for All of Us Strangers because he's been campaigning with the cast everywhere. He'll have international support.
That's a great
fair list,
David. He does have the international support, especially in the UK, where a lot of Academy voters do live. But will he make the cut? I just don't know. And thank you for pointing out that Paul Giamatti won the NBR award, because we should have said that.
But I'm down to talk more about Andrew Scott. Like he is very good in this movie.
Yeah, he is.
It's just such subtle kind of work. Like it's not a big like fireworks, like kicking and screaming movie.
It's also not a lot of bells and whistles, given what the concept is. It's very, very dialed back in that way. But you buy into it, even without any manipulative, visual effects to go along with what the premise actually is. It still works. I think Andrew Haig, who directed and wrote the movie, did a great job.
I just hope that has a campaign that's loud enough to break through a little, because of the titles that we've spoken about thus far, they're like everywhere and they're in your face, and this one just a little less so.
Yes,
Searchlight definitely going for Poor Things, right?
They are.
That's what's definitely taken up a good deal of their time and their budget, I imagine. Ralph wants to know, I was at the LA premiere for American Fiction and loved Jeffrey's performance. Does the film's genre hurt his chances to win an Oscar? Does the Academy tend to award lead performances from dramas?
Yes. Ralph, that's an excellent point. By the way, Ralph, for the record, I am jealous that you got to go to the LA premiere of American Fiction. Where the hell was my invite? But no worries, I was there with you in spirit. I too, we all look, the three of us love Jeffrey Wright's performance. And that's a great question. Of course, as we discussed elsewhere, past years of FYC, does the Academy tend to award lead performances for dramas over comedies? The answer is yes. I don't see, I mean, look, I think American Fiction is a comedy. I also think it is a drama. It's not like a straight ahead comedy like something like Barbie. So I think that Jeffrey Wright's chances to win, I don't think would be hurt by the tone of this movie. I still think that it's still enough of a drama that I still think he has a strong chance. What do you guys think?
I think he's in good shape.
Yeah.
I mean, Ralph definitely isn't wrong. There's certain types of movies that tend to get nominated in every single category, but it's Jeffrey Wright. It's Jeffrey Wright we're talking about here, and also it is a comedy, but like I said before, it is an incredibly smart movie. Very, very smart, thoughtful film. Great story. So I feel like he's gonna be good.
Jeff?
Yeah, it's definitely more of a dramedy than an outright comedy. Because I definitely cried or shed a tear.
He's softy.
I think it impacts it a little bit, maybe.
Maybe. Okay. Well, there you go. There's your answer, Ralph. Thanks for the question.
Now we've got Joseph here. I know we're talking Oscars. Team FYC getting all my love, but I just want to say that the Saturn Awards made my heart happy. Yay for Renfield.
Yay, Joseph, for watching.
Who are the sick puppies you have subscribing to your YouTube channel, Perri? Renfield fans, Joseph Croft.
Wait a minute. It's the Saturn Awards. The Saturn Awards honor science fiction, fantasy, and horror.
No, I know.
Those are not the Oscars, but they are a lot of fun.
Balls. Joseph knows that.
Well, just so you know, this is why the Saturn Award nominations were great, because Captain Kirk, Captain Pike, Captain Picard, Captain Riker, and Captain 7 of 9, all from Star Trek, all got nominated for Saturn Awards. So go Saturns and go Joseph.
All right, we've got Dave Networld back here. If Bradley Cooper gets actor only, he will win. If he happens to get actor and director, he will split his own vote. Getting both winds up hurting him.
I don't think Bradley Cooper's going to win Best Director. So he's getting Best Actor. Most likely. I think so.
I think he's talking about a nomination.
Yeah, I think he can get both nominations, and I kind of see what Dave is saying. I feel like if anyone's like, well, maybe I should just vote for him in one category, that could be someone's mentality.
That's a good point, but I just think that his performance is so strong that the wondering like where should I put him if I had to choose between one or the other. I think in this case, that's not going to hurt Bradley Cooper's chances to get an acting nomination no matter what. As for director...
I just think that the fact that Bradley Cooper is like a big A-list actor, that's what hurts him when it comes to Best Director. Like, that's how people are looking at him. Same thing with Affleck.
I also think it hurts everyone in director that Christopher Nolan is just so far ahead of the pack. Like, I actually think that even if Bradley Cooper gets both nominations, I feel like the mentality that like it's a done deal, it's Christopher Nolan's award, could make him, could make Bradley Cooper still in a decent position and not worrying about people voting for him for Best Director, and maybe instead feeling encouraged to vote for him in Best Actor because they know he's not going to win the other one.
All right, next question.
This is a huge one. David, you are too generous today, my friend. Thank you so much for the support. I love Cillian, and I predicted him when I saw the trailer, but Bradley truly deserves it. He could have played this role over the top, but he didn't. He just inhabited that guy, embodied his soul, and it's the best real portrayal I've seen since Eddie in The Theory of Everything.
Eddie Redmayne. Yeah, that's excellent point, David. I agree. I think Bradley, I really do think he deserves that. Clearly, he was my number one choice last time. He was my number one choice this time. So excellent point. Agree with that. And thank you very much for your generosity.
And taking us home today is Travis. Hello, my friend. Do you think Michael Fassbender will get a nomination for The Killer? He was so intense in that movie.
Okay, before I answer that question, Travis, I'm going to throw to Perri. Did you see The Killer? If
I
so,
never saw it. See, but this is the problem. I never saw it because it felt like there was a couple of weeks where in our little bubble where we were encouraged to see it, I had opportunities, but they were just conflicting. But it wasn't a situation where when those times came and went, I got more opportunities, you know? It was like, it felt like there was a very clear cutoff in terms of screenings, and then I never got the chance to see it. But, you know, it is on Netflix. I should circle back and watch it ASAP.
Jeff, what's your take on The Killer, David Fincher, Michael Fassbender?
Netflix, if Perri won't go to your screenings and events, just call me, okay? I would kill a family member to have gone and seen The Killer early. So, teasing you, B. Michael Fassbender will not get nominated, but I've seen The Killer like 3 times, I think, at this point.
Wow.
I know I'm a sick twist.
You are.
That's why I bond with Jake, the Renfield fan from earlier. Yeah, he was great in The Killer, but no, he has no chance of being nominated this year. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought The Killer was okay. I thought it was solid enough. I don't think it's Fincher's best. In some ways, I felt like it was a one-note movie with a one-note performance, although it's proficiently made. I want to say, bring up what Mirror Domains is saying. It would be cool if the movie Godzilla -1 got nominated, because Godzilla -1 is a badass movie, probably the best Godzilla movie in the history of Godzilla. And everyone on social media has been talking about, oh my God, I saw Godzilla -1. It's the greatest movie of the year. It absolutely is one of the best movies of the year. If you have not seen Godzilla -1, you know, because say, oh, I'm not a big Godzilla fan, doesn't matter. You should see it. It's really like an extraordinary film, like wild, amazing, absolutely lives up to the hype. And that's it. I think we're good.
I really liked it.
Enthusiasm.
So our picks. These are my notes.
We didn't even get into Barry Keoghan or Adam Driver. We didn't even mention those guys.
I wish Barry could get a nomination, but it's too far out.
This is the list I meant to hold up. I held up the wrong list. So our picks are Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers. All say aye.
Right.
Perri?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So with that, those are our picks for Best Actor Revisiting, and we kept our list from the last time. I think next time on FYC, I think we skipped over Best Director, so I think we should redo Best
revisit.
Director. Yeah, we got to revisit that before we do the supporting actor and actress roles. So thank you everyone for joining us live. Make sure you share FYC on your social media so other people who have not yet discovered the greatness of the amazing Perri Nemiroff and the mighty Jeff Snyder and this guy, now is your chance. So nowhere else will you find a better award season show that is as fun and certainly as knowledgeable. And make sure, as always, if you haven't already done so, that you subscribe to Perri Nemiroff's YouTube channel so you can be the first to know when she drops something really awesome on her channel, which is basically all the time. And make sure you subscribe to Jeff Snyder's newsletter, the In Snyder with an NEIDER.com. And also check out Jeff Snyder and my great friend Johnny Roca on the hot mic, where Jeff and Johnny are dropping scoops and news better than the trades. That's on John Roca's YouTube channel. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Movie Mans, or don't, I guess. So totally up to you. But make sure you join us next time on a brand new FYC. We love doing these, and we love when you watch, and we love engaging you. Comment below on what you thought of our picks today. But until next time, you know the drill. FY, see you later.